including how to be the Joker and get Elsa pregnant. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. I think there's one thing that we can all agree on, Jeff, and that's that we're going to space.
We must, because as we've said, we're destroying this planet. We're just, this planet's garbage heap at this point.
Yeah, there's one of two space futures that I think we both agree on. I think we all agree on. And those space futures are Earth yucky, rich people go away, we stay on yucky planet, or Earth get yucky, rich people send us away to mine valuable goods for them to send back to good planet.
Right. This is the Elysium idea. Either way, it's Elysium.
Yeah, it just depends on where Elysium is. And either way, it's wherever you're not. Look to your left, look to your right. That's not Elysium. You know what I mean?
Look up. That's Elysium.
Look far away off into the distance where the water looks a little cleaner.
That's right.
That's right. You'll never get there.
No.
But here's the question that I think has popped into my mind, and I think it should pop into all of our minds. What animals are we bringing with us to space, Jeff?
Well, my understanding is we got to bring two of everything.
Yes.
That's the template, right? As you go, well,
you're thinking of the original Elysium before the remake.
Oh, I always get those confused.
Yeah, you're thinking of the source material.
Right. Yeah. Based on a novel by Sapphire. I always get that confused. Yeah.
And Sapphire is our pet name for Jesus Christ.
That's what we call him.
That's what we call him.
Old Sapphire.
You think about bringing an animal into space, and the first thing I think about is Laika.
Sure.
Laika the dog went into space.
Yeah. Became
super
super intelligent. Became super intelligent.
That's right.
Hangs out with the Guardians of the Galaxy now.
That's right. Will live forever and ever, and is the goodest girl, and we don't ever have to worry about her.
Nope. She's doing fine.
Yeah. When you look up into the sky and you see that shooting star, that's
Laika.
That's Laika, and she is winking at you.
She's a good girl forevermore.
That's right. There's a great series of comics online right now. I think it's getting a print edition soon called Good Girl Laika. That's just about Laika permanently living in space and what happens to Laika. It's very good. It's a very sweet comic. It's one of those comics where like every time you look at it, you go, "Aw," you know.
Sounds like that's the point.
Yeah.
I also think of monkeys.
Sure.
Monkeys.
Sure. Monkeys go into space. They also come back super intelligent, but that's a problem.
Well, yes, because then their brain power lets them levitate things.
Yeah. And their anger at us.
Yeah.
For everything that we did to them, you know, that's the issue.
It really is.
But the other thing I think of, Jeff, for whatever reason, the only other thing that I think of when I think about animals in space is Homer Simpson accidentally letting all the ants in the ant farm free when he's an astronaut.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And the ants look at each other and they go, "Freedom, horrible, horrible freedom."
Yeah,
that stuck with me. That really stuck with me, and I couldn't tell you why. But we got to think about what animals we're going to bring into space. So far, we can't even bring ourselves into space for I'm not going to say more than a few days, because 166 days is the longest we'll go into space. But we don't tend to, what do we bring with us? Like a mouse or something, maybe?
I'm sure there's a bunch of mice that we've tortured in space.
A bunch of bugs maybe sometimes we bring, but we're going to need some animals.
We're going to need particularly delicious animals in space at some point, right?
Now, that you would think so. That's the thing. I mostly think, hey, if I'm going to space, I want a dog with me, robot or otherwise.
Yeah, robot preferable because, then you don't have to worry about walksies and...
Yeah. Plus, it's got lasers in case anything happens.
You don't want... Yeah, lasers super key. Although I think you could probably retrofit a real dog with those. That's a different episode. Anyway, I do think you don't want anything to piddle. If you piddle in the hab,
sure.
You don't want that.
No, because it's not as easy to just clean up and throw out.
Right.
You know, you've got the airlock only opens once every 24 hours for safety reasons.
That's right.
And your dog, your dog shits in low gravity.
You don't want the like 20 to 30 minute process of putting on your space suit to do a walk.
Yeah.
You know, and by the time you put it on, the dog is already shit on the ground. You're like, I just put all this on. You can wait 2 more minutes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It already waited 27 for you to get the spacesuit on.
That's right.
To be fair, dog in space got to wait a long time to go outside. And they don't understand. They don't understand being strapped down to the toilet.
No. Well, they don't understand that here.
No. And my vet doesn't understand why I do it to my dog either. And I'm like, really? You don't get it?
You should try it.
This is great. I'm telling you, he loves it. No, but I think about we need ecosystems. We need. Listen, I may not think of myself as living in the ecosystem. I might think of myself as living on the corner of my block and only drinking matcha lattes and eating fancy sandwiches like the little Lord Fauntleroy of the city that I am.
Right. But
let me tell you something. That matcha comes from the matcha bird, I think.
You need that. We need fish and fowl. We need, what we need? We're going to need bacon. If we're going into space, I'm going to need bacon, right?
Epic bacon, buddy. You said it for the win.
So let's figure out how we can get pigs in space.
Well, it's tricky, and you might be surprised to find that the animals that we want to bring to space are not even being heavily considered yet.
What?
Yeah, when we think about
what are we bringing?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. NASA, has plans for a permanent lunar outpost by the end of the decade. We want to be living on the moon. Not us.
Do it.
Once again, not us.
No.
Not us. The moon is boring and dark and scary and wants us dead, and there's no cool shit up there.
Not a single puppy dog to give me cuddles.
You can't even stream Peacock up there, let alone let alone like a Netflix.
Come on.
Or an Amazon Prime, but only during award season.
How am I supposed to get my whatever shows are on Peacock?
Oh, Peacock? That's easy. You've got reruns of The Office, and you've got...
Oh, I want those. Aren't those also on Netflix, though?
No. NBC paid $100 million to get out of their Netflix contract early to put everything on Peacock. Here's what I can tell you they don't have in space, and we're making a joke about it like we're going to miss it, but I'm glad there are no streaming services in space.
I don't know. I feel like if you were in space, you'd want to be able to, watch something.
I would want to be able to watch, but that's the thing is that's how it all starts is we just want to be able to watch something. And then
how does it all end?
It ends with us having 37 subscriptions to Campbell's Soup Plus original content.
Fair point.
Are you part of Kroger's premium streaming service?
Yeah.
It's just reruns of Supermarket Sweep. The greatest game show in the history of television.
Dude, $7.99 a month, money well spent. If I can get
24 hours a day of Supermarket Sweep,
all Supermarket Sweep all the time. Go for the ham, you moron!
Bill,
what are you doing? Why are you wasting
with
time?
Ham.
What are you wasting time with the frozen peas? Go for the ham.
But in space, we're not going for the ham, Jeff.
Clearly not.
We're not going for the ham.
What animals are we considering? I'm worried that our priorities are in the wrong place with regard to animals.
Well, we want to set up an ecosystem eventually, right?
Sure.
And it's kind of strange because when you think about an ecosystem, actually one of the first key things is insects. And I would list lack of bugs
Yeah.
as one of the
That's like
pros of space. Maybe one of the
Yes.
only pros of space.
That's in the classified ad for your open floor plan lunar
That's right.
residence. One of the key features is no bugs.
No bugs in space. That's really like what they don't tell you when you're volunteering to be one of these early space colonists. They'll be like, they don't tell you like, oh, the horrible vacuum of space will freeze and boil your blood, and like
Sure, they don't mention that.
instantaneously. You can only bring like one object with you that you enjoy, and there's
Right.
nothing. There's
The lack of gravity will actually reshape your eyeballs.
yeah, to
You know?
the point where they're useless and your bones will atrophy, and
Yeah.
you'll never see your family again. What they say is, ugh, these mosquitoes, right? Don't
I
you
know
wish
a
you could
place.
just ugh?
I know a place where there's no mosquitoes.
I feel like, I swear to you, I can leave a single dish out on the counter for 15 minutes and flies everywhere. Do you know where you don't have to worry about flies or dishes or food?
Or being out.
Come to the lunar colony. You're
Everybody
gonna
loves
love
it
it
there.
here.
It's the best. No ants.
Ugh, not a single ant.
Nope.
Except for the giant colony of ants that we're sending you there to monitor, that are more important than you. And honestly, if you ever come to a point in the experiment where it's you or the ants, you save the ants.
Save the ants. It's more important.
Those are special ants.
They're hard to replace. Whereas you're
just a guy that answered an ad that said, ew, bugs. Like, what did you even think this job was? All the ad said was, ew, bugs. Am I right? And you showed up. You're like, yeah, you're right. You're an idiot, and that's why we're sending you.
I feel like the first bug, the most important bugs, my understanding of bug hierarchy
Yeah.
is rudimentary at best. But my assumption is the most important bug is the honeybee, right? Don't we want to get those stuff pollinated up in space?
Well,
Let's pollinate some shit.
Currently the pollinators, yeah, they're a huge deal. They're not the only pollinator, certainly. A lot of insects do it. I think the reason why we think that they are the most important right now is because we're killing them.
Right.
And like all things that we murder as humans, we go, oh, we actually like that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. We're George playing with the rabbit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
But my
mice and
understanding is that-
menning this shit.
It's true. It's very true. We're squeezing it a little too tightly.
Yeah, sorry,
what
not
happened.
George, Lenny.
Lenny.
We're Lenny.
We got the reference.
My apologies to the Steppenwolf Theater and to Gary Sinise and to John Malkovich.
Wow. There's a pull. 1987's production of my understanding is that we got Jason Statham on that problem with the bee problem. He's a beekeeper now.
He's the beekeeper. And
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I did not know that the film existed until I heard that it was #1 at the box office this weekend. And I said, good for Jason Statham.
Yeah.
The crank himself. He's either
The
Hobbs or Shaw.
He's the transporter.
He is the
transports-
transporter.
But now he punches people who want to kill bees. I think that's the plot.
If the plot of The Beekeeper was Jason Statham in his tough, working class, lovable British way, gruff but fair and tough, and we love him, was out to save the super pollinators, that's a movie I could get behind, in all honesty. But also they should do the thing where they attach the GoPro to him again, because that's fun.
That is fun.
Crank him up, baby. That's what he says whenever he comes onto set. It's in his
Crank me up.
contract. They're like, crank it up, baby. Statham's here, is what he says. And everybody
That's
has to
good.
reply, crank it up, contractually.
Uh-huh.
And that's why he and Vin Diesel won't work together anymore.
Because Vin hates catchphrases. That's his whole thing.
Well, Vin wants everybody, when he walks onto set, to sing his dance pop hit that he released a few years back.
Sure.
And that has to be playing over the set. And that makes it so when Jason Statham walks onto set, people can't hear him say, crank it up.
Because they're listening to Invincible, the song with an exclamation point at the end.
That's right. I believe his single is called Feel Like I Do.
Is this a real thing? I didn't even know he had a single.
That's right. He did. It was originally a Rihanna song.
Is this a...
No, wait. He did... Feel Like I Do was an original. He did a cover of Rihanna's Stay. He covered The Man... Now listen to his voice. You've heard him speak.
Oh, he is Groot.
He is Groot. Groot sing a Rihanna song.
Somebody got my letters, I guess.
Anyway.
Is this a Eddie Murphy, My Girl Wants to Party All the Time situation?
I believe it is. It is.
Right.
Anyway, space and honeybees. What are we sending into?
We're bringing insects first?
Well,
I feel like they're light, they're portable. They don't take up much space.
That's the trick, is you can't go to space and be like, we're bringing cows. Motherfucker, you're not bringing cows. Commander Chris Hadfield had to sneak his ukulele. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had to
he snuck it inside a cow.
That's right. He had to sneak all those soda cans that he opened on YouTube in space.
That's right.
So there isn't a lot of consensus, actually, as to what to bring, because according to most researchers, we're pretty far away from bringing anything but ourselves and some pre-made snacks. We're bringing some space Lunchables for a good long while. But
it sounds like the end of the decade colony is going to be a little lacking, you know?
Buddy, anybody who signs up to be the first colonist, we've talked about this.
Yeah, that's a one-way trip.
It's not just a one-way trip. That's a sucker's trip.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I'm going to be the first person to live in space. That's cool, man. That's cool on paper in a history book.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what's not cool? 40 years of your life on the moon. That fucking sucks, bro. Good luck.
True. Yeah.
But so ecosystems are really, really far in the future. And according to an astrobiologist, David Catling from the University of Washington in Seattle, he says that elaborate ecosystems are really more still the realm of science fiction than active scientific research.
Mm-hmm.
However, the main hurdle is actually reduced gravity. You'd think it was getting the things into space. How much can we bring? How do we keep them alive when we get there in terms of feeding the animals that we have to feed us?
Right.
But really, the toughest thing is low gravity.
Because the animals don't know how to handle it. They have cows just floating around going, and then what? What do you got?
They don't know what to do. You got a bunch of golden retrievers dunking basketballs in slow motion because of the low gravity, and their shit's just getting in the way.
That say they can't.
Look it up. Check the rules, ref. And by ref, I mean the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So the deal is, like, the habitats that we're going to build, we're going to be able to accommodate pressure. We're going to be able to accommodate temperature, atmospheric composition, all that stuff. But we still don't have artificial gravity. We have no way to change gravity.
Should we maybe get on that? Let's get on that.
I feel like that's number one before we live in space.
Put down the ant colony.
Yeah.
Move away from the bees and get to work on artificial gravity.
Artificial gravity, ?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Basically, like, because of the altered gravity, now we have long-term data on what being in space with altered gravity does to us. Like, we were talking about the football eye and the bone density and all this other stuff that can happen, right? Muscle atrophy. We can guess, and we have some limited data about what that will do to animals. You know, we would imagine it would do, you know, especially to mammals, it'll do about the same thing that it does to us, right? Send a mammal into space and it's going to come back with the football eye.
Yeah.
But as far as other animals, and even, even in terms of some mammals, because of the way their skeletons and their muscle structures work, the way quadrupeds work, like we don't even know if they'll be able to walk up there.
Right.
We don't know what's
how
going to
are we
happen.
Find out if we don't send one?
That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm saying we send Mars Mover 1.
I like it.
The smartest cows.
Yes.
We run a test.
Cows.
Space cows. Cows that have been through the most rigorous training. Cut to, if you're watching the video version, which you can get on Patreon, you are seeing an incredibly well-produced and edited montage of cows training to be astronauts at NASA facilities. I mean, we spared no expense, which is why you should head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. This is, wow, look at this footage. Can you believe that cow running on the treadmill? That's not CG. Yeah, that's not CGI.
Incredible.
That's not, we don't do that anymore. We only use union cows. Union Wagyu cows that have been
practical.
fed. Yeah, they've been fed sake and rice their entire life. Because of these things, because we don't know what's going to happen to these animals. And listen, going to space, still dangerous, still expensive. We still have a limited amount of time there. So when we start sending up animals, we want to make sure that we're sending up the best candidates first, which means we don't get that cow data initially. Sorry,
cows.
It's years until we get the cow data.
I do think, though, there is a better than 50% chance that zero gravity would make a cow more delicious. You think about how, like, bone density, softer bones, more chewable. Like
you make a better soup stock with them, certainly.
Yeah. Well, I feel like everything would be a little more supple, more tender. It's like you could have it's veal all the time. Every cow is veal. Space.
Every cow is veal. That's another great thing we need to put on the recruitment. You too become human veal, but like we don't need to discuss that.
We don't mention that part.
We don't mention the human veal.
Every mammal is veal. Wait, aren't I a mammal? There's also no bugs, sir.
The NASA guy just looks at you and licks his lips slowly as you turn into a roast chicken before his face. How long? Okay, this is a digression, and we haven't even gotten to what the first animals in space are going to be. But I have to ask you this, Jeff. What do you think the NASA colony handbook says? How many days without food is standard operating procedure until cannibalism?
Woof. 20. I'm going 20.
20 days without food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Gerald's Game amount of days. That makes sense. That's like when your dog would turn on you.
I don't think you get like a full month.
Like if you die in the apartment, it takes like 20 days maybe for your cow, for your dog, or your cow, I guess. I don't know. Or
your cow, for that much.
If you're a farmer, write in. It takes like 20 days before your house cat starts licking its lips and going, smell a little bit like meat. But I think that's going to be an important rule in space. Like if there's
cannibalism.
If there's like a massive problem with the colony and like there's a problem with food supply, you just got to be practical. That's a lot of protein you're throwing away.
I feel like that's more of an unwritten rule, if I'm honest.
I think we should make it explicit because we all agree that it will eventually happen and that it should happen, but we should eliminate not just the moral hand-wringing, although mostly the moral hand-wringing. We should let people know when they shouldn't feel bad.
Yeah.
Look, not only do you not need to feel bad, but it's standard operating procedure. You'll die if you don't eat this dude.
Sure. This is the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down for the no bugs. I love the idea of all cows are veal. I did read subsection 14 about the 20-day rule.
Yeah.
And I'm a little less excited about colonizing.
Now, let me ask you something. I appreciate you giving the feedback. 20 days, does that seem too short or too long to you? What part of it is making you feel bad?
Well, I mean, honestly a little short. I don't like the idea of not eating for 20 days, but
Sure.
I feel like maybe as it is a handbook,
Yeah.
there should be other options first.
Sure. Sorry, we have a form that we do for feedback. Now, let me ask you this. What if I gave you the information that you will be dead in 27 days and the human food goes bad 24 days in? 20 feels kind of optimal now that you have all the information, right?
It's coming into focus. I'll be honest with you. Can I not eat the ants? Is there any other
those
option?
ants are very important. Those are government ants. They're protected.
Yeah. I did see subsection 12 says save the ants at all costs.
That's right.
I did see that.
That's right. And you did notice that even though it's subsection 12, I put it at the very front of the handbook.
It is weird how it's out of order like that.
Well, I just feel like it's the most important thing you need to know. The second most important thing you need to know is how to rub yourself down with this sake and beer.
It is weird that it's called the Save the Ants Handbook.
That's
a
right.
guide to your time in space.
That's right. Really, there's a lot of data we're collecting about these ants, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of data we're collecting on these ants, and there's a lot of fat we're collecting on your bones, and that's what NASA's about. So here's what we're thinking. Smaller animals, obviously first.
Yeah. Your ferrets, your peacock, your parrots, your ferrets, anything that rhymes.
That's right. Parrots, ferrets, and peacocks is what they say. That's the mnemonic that they use.
I was thinking about
NASA.
streaming services again. That's the problem with me. I went right to streaming services.
That's right. And when you go to streaming services, the first
Paramount
thing you
Plus
think of.
featuring Showtime.
That's right. First place you go is Peacock when I'm looking for quality entertainment online. So the first things they're talking about is in small condition in these conditions, smaller animals, mice, aquatic life probably works best. Now, I didn't even think about aquatic life because I'm thinking about
lovely fish tank. Dude, the first thing I want in my lunar module.
Yeah.
Delightful fish tank.
Well, you're thinking of this that 60s space age swinging a stellar bachelor pad that's got the cool, you've got a turntable in space and a lava lamp, one of those egg chairs.
My understanding is that in space, every lamp is a lava lamp.
That's right. It has something to do with the states of matter and the way they work in space. Look it up. We can't do everything for you. Yeah, and a big fish tank in space would be kind of super dope.
Super dope.
But once
serene
again,
and calming, you know?
But once again,
lovely.
I do think about astronaut Chris Hadfield and his little Coca-Colas that he brought up with him and how just that aquarium could just turn into a blob of floating death.
It's a sphere aquarium,
Whoa.
right? Because it'd be a sphere, wouldn't it be in space?
Oh. Now a sphere of water just floating through the space station.
With some colorful fish in it?
Like that orb that Palpatine took Anakin to see.
Yes.
You remember when they went to the opera house and all they were watching was a humming orb?
Yes.
I want my aquarium to be a humming drone orb in space.
With like super dangerous, poisonous, exotic fish in it.
Yes. So,
there you go.
Fish and other aquatic animals are supported by buoyancy within the water. So gravitational changes aren't going to have much influence on their development.
That's rad.
Fish also now that's not a 100% statement. That's what we're thinking off the top of the dome. And by we, I mean scientists and not me. What I'm thinking off the top of my dome is remember that time that Palpatine took Anakin to see that orb?
Yeah. But that's what you're usually thinking off the top of your dome.
What was that orb about? It's like all the rich people went to see the orb. And every time they showed the orb was just going, Yo, that dude was evil.
Did you see the orb today? Yeah, it still was going,
I got season passes to see the orb. We got box seats. Well, I didn't get them. My company got them. But, it's like a charitable. It's like a write-off thing. People come in from out of town and we take them to see the orb.
You got to see the orb. Everybody wants to see the orb. I mean, I've seen the orb so many times now, it's kind of lost its luster.
My favorite part of the orb is the part where it goes, whoa. You remember that part?
In fairness, is the only part. But yeah.
It's good.
It's a good part.
So what we're thinking is not only will the buoyancy of aquatic animals make them better off in space, but also they make good space livestock, right? Because they're efficient at feeding. They don't eat much. They produce less waste than most other animals. Right. And they reproduce like fucking crazy, dude. As a matter of fact, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I do think that might be problematic about all the tiny little treasure chests and sea diver men that we'll have to bring.
Now that is one of the problems. Is bringing the fish is easy. Bringing the colored gravel that glows under a black light, that's literally just a bag of rocks. And we're trying to keep the weight down, but also we can't just have a bare tank when the guests come.
Not from when the guests come
to space.
It's so embarrassing when you have guests over to space.
Yeah.
And they walk into your lunar hab and your fish tank is bare.
It's just bare. It's just really done.
My face is red just thinking about it.
Not a bubbling treasure chest to be seen. Not a castle with a mermaid anywhere. Since 2019, the Lunar Hatch program has been investigating the feasibility of shipping fish eggs to space.
Oh!
We don't send them as fish, buddy. We send them as eggs. And that way...
caviar delivery.
That's right. If the fish don't get borned the way they're supposed to, you at least have a classy treat.
I love this. I love it.
You're either eating fish or you're eating caviar and drinking champagne because there isn't enough food, and in 20 days you'll be eating each other according to the handbook. So you might as well party while you can.
Not since Project Escargot has there been a more delicious plan to get creatures in space.
Now, Project Escargot was Richard Scarry's Busy Town space program, right?
That's exactly right.
That's right. It was a little snail on an adorable little rocket made of a cucumber, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. You put a little matchstick on the back, and up to space he flies.
And Lowly Worm says, "Good luck, buddy. I gotta drive my Apple car to work, but I'll be thinking about you." So basically, if they can survive and launch spaceflight, fish will be a more efficient, high protein, low waste food source than any other land livestock. So that's number one. We want the fish up there.
Yeah.
But number two,
dude, can you imagine the moon sushi spot? So good.
It's going to be the only spot.
It really is, but it's going to be delicious.
But it's good. Listen, what they're going to send up there is we're sending up the fish.
Yeah.
We're sending up all the food for the fish. And then we're sending up Hokkaido's greatest sushi chef.
Yeah. It's just all sashimi all the time, baby.
Listen, it's the Michael Bay rule, but this is the only case in which the Michael Bay rule makes sense. You can train a sushi chef to go to space, but you cannot train a quality sushi chef or a quality astronaut to be a quality sushi chef.
That's right.
Hold on, I'll take that from the top again. You can train a sushi chef to be an astronaut, but you cannot train an astronaut to be a truly quality sushi chef.
That's a lifetime of dedication to become a sushi chef.
I've watched Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Me too.
That one son is just like, I can't do it. I've been doing it all my life. I've been doing it for 40 years. It's all I've been doing. I can't do it.
Any old Tom, Dick, and Harry could be an astronaut.
Yo, you could literally win Double Dare and go to space camp. You don't need anything to go to space.
That's right. You got to have a lifetime of dedication and understanding to become a quality sushi chef.
That's right. You got to have $500 and airfare to Alabama to go to space camp. Which, by the way, now that I'm an adult, I know that it was only $500 in airfare to Alabama, Mom.
She still said no, though, right?
Oh, she said no every month.
Yeah.
Once a month. I literally, for a while, Jeff, like you and your breakdancing linoleum, which if you're a patron, you know about the breakdancing linoleum. I was the same way with Space Camp. I had a set schedule where twice a month, I found that twice a month is the most I could ask about Space Camp without making my mother very angry. And there was a period of my life, probably about a year and a half long, where all I did was I had that internal timer set, and I would ask my mom about Space Camp or bring up Space Camp or talk about, very important contributions that NASA had made to American history. And my mom would be like, no, I get it. You're not going to Space Camp.
She really wanted you to be a sushi chef?
Yeah, she kept sending me to sushi camp. And I was like, I don't have the knife skills.
Yeah.
Not only do I not have the knife skills, I simply don't have the patience, and I don't have the delicate palate required to figure out what is the highest grade tuna.
It's true. You're either born with that or you're not.
You're not. There's no, listen, you can train your palate, but the palate has to exist.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of sushi, but number two, a lot of insects. A lot of insects for food, Jeff.
We're going to eat bugs in space? Is that
Baby,
the idea?
In 10 years, we're all eating bugs no matter what. Listen.
Oh, all right. So space is ahead of the curve as usual.
That's right. We've talked about this many a time. We've talked about how crickets are the protein of the future.
Yeah.
And listen, crickets are going up first. According to a 2020 report from the University of South Australia and the International Space University in France.
What?
Yeah, buried the lead on that one, huh, researchers? There's an International Space University, and it's in...
Go fighting space aliens.
And it's in France.
Yeah, that seems counterintuitive a bit.
French space program. What?
Yeah.
Listen, this is going to turn into one of those things where the Americans bag on the French and do their French accents, though I will allow us right now 10 seconds to do our French accents. I'm
welcome to space.
I'm up in the stars.
How you doing?
The baguette does not fit in the capsule.
We made this entire university because we thought the moon was made of cheese.
Oh, it's a big orgy up here on the French space station.
We love cheese.
According to the International Space University and the University of South Australia's 2020 report, insects such as crickets are the most feasible and affordable food source that we can send up to space to start a self-sufficient colony.
Now, listen, I have said, and we have both said on the show many times, we need to seriously budget NASA a little higher in this country.
We need to give them at least half the money France has given their space program.
That's right. It's a crime how little the budget is for NASA when they're talking about cutting costs for cricket food. You know what I'm saying? If the crickets is the most affordable option, then maybe we can up that budget just slightly.
Yeah, give them at least enough money to eat a fat beetle or a grub.
Yeah.
Give them a worm, put a little meat on their bones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let them eat fried worms.
Yeah, that's what Marie Antoinette said. Do you know? It just occurred to me. Imagine training your entire life in both science and physicality, right?
Yeah.
Not just mathematics and chemistry or physics or whatever whatever your biology, whatever your specialization is, but also training hard enough to be literally a fighter pilot level of physical
the best
fitness.
Of the best. You are a prime specimen. You are the ultimate of what humanity can offer.
That's right. You've been doing this for decades. You've been waiting your turn because only a few people get to go. And your reward is eating bugs and worms.
As your eyeballs turn into football shape.
My dude, just like take up rock climbing or something. You know, I just feel like for the reward for that life of rigorous training to be bugs and worms.
Man.
That's fucked.
That's rough. That's cold comfort.
And you know what else? So every single scientist or every single astronaut's partner, Jeff, has cheated on them their entire time they're in space. There's a report that came out and it's true. The report says that most people operate by the if you're on a different planet, once you leave the Kuiper bands, anything goes. Yeah,
it's unfortunate that we all learned about it in that film, The Astronaut's Wife.
That's right. That's what it was about. It was a sexy movie. But the second the first astronaut went up there and was like, "Oh, honey, I got to take off my ring because of the space pressure," it was understood what the astronaut life is, and that is infidelity.
Yeah. Well, that's
and also
goes in space.
And it is infidelity because if you're poly, you're not allowed to be an astronaut. That's part of the NASA rules.
Right.
They say that if you're poly and you go into space, your head swells up and explodes. That's just science. I'm sorry, everybody who's poly. Conscious non-monogamous. Sorry, no Gwyneth Paltrow's in space.
That is in the handbook though. No Gwyneth. Save the ants. No Gwyneth Paltrow.
No Gwyneth Paltrow. Listen, if things go wrong on the mission, the first thing you are to jettison is sliding doors star Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. It says if things start going badly, because you can't eat her because there's no meat on the bones.
No. Even the 20 herself out the airlock.
The 20-day rule
right out there.
That's right. You need to. It says, in case of emergency, you pull 2 switches that are labeled Shakespeare in Love and duets.
That's right. Yeah.
And she goes, and she turns around, she goes, "Hey, I was in both of."
That's right. That's in the handbook. Yeah. It is a sad commentary that you'll get more nutrients from a handful of crickets than you will in eating Gwyneth Paltrow.
It's a shame, really. It's a shame, really. It goes to show you what that macrobiotic diet does for you. Yeah. So a closed loop life support system will also probably need, we'll need these insects because, like we were saying earlier, pollination, soil turnover, detritus cleanup, by which we mean by the time you start bringing those bigger animals that have bigger poops.
Oh, we're going to need maggots, aren't we?
Maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots.
We're going to have to bring maggots.
How do they taste?
Look down. Oh, man. This is a fascinating topic to me because, it really requires determining what are the building blocks of an ecosystem, right? What are the most essential elements? Because you have your fun natural phenomenon. You have your lovely animals that you love to see prancing across the prairie. But is it essential?
Right.
Does it create a workable ecosystem? You got to figure out. Maybe there's some unpleasant truths you got to look at about what is really needed. Hey,
ecologists will tell you. Ecologists and biologists will tell you. Every single living thing that exists on Earth is needed for the Earth ecosystem. Now you have smaller local ecosystems.
We've proved that wrong, though. No, we're getting rid of creatures here and there all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Everything just keeps getting more and more into balance.
That's right. That's exactly.
The more species we kill off, the more everything seems to be working fine.
Right.
I don't know.
That's just suck it, scientists.
Yeah, eat maggots, Michael. So they're saying, things like pollination, soil turnover, backup food supply in case crops fail, right? You eat more insects as the corn fails, and as the corn doesn't fail, You eat fewer insects. That's just the way the pilgrims did it. You know?
Yeah.
But then the other thing for like a fancy night out, Jeff, crustaceans.
Ooh, I love a nice lobster.
You know what's
Like
going to go great in your swinging space bachelor pad with the cool round TV set?
Shrimp cocktail?
A shrimp cocktail, baby. We were thinking the same thing. You can't have a classy party by the conversation pit without a shrimp cocktail.
Woo!
Fuck,
the
you
guests are going
can't
to be
say,
so impressed.
oh, there's going to be so much gravel in the tank, so many shrimp in the cocktail. Jeff, do you know you can't say shrimp cocktail without me wanting a shrimp cocktail?
It is maybe the perfect food.
Shrimp cocktail and deviled eggs are the two food where if you say it, I need it.
Oh, we are 100% on the same page. This is why we're friends, Anthony.
And this is why we can't go into space.
Exactly. Yeah. What is the key components of an ecosystem to ensure that we have deviled eggs in space?
Listen, what I want to know before I can live in space, what society needs before we can say that truly we are self-sufficient in space is crudité, a little tapas,
Yes.
hand food,
Come on.
things for
Some
passing
paprika.
around.
Can I get some paprika in space, please?
Here's the thing. The shrimp, space efficient, wonderful, a great space food. The problem is the cocktail sauce and the ice bath. Because a good shrimp cocktail is served in a nice, classy martini glass of ice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
You can't.
And you gotta have that. You gotta have the sauce.
Dude. That's what makes it a shrimp cocktail and not pile of shrimp.
Although, to be fair, I'd probably eat pile of shrimp.
Dude, I've
when
gone to
pressed.
Vegas and eaten pile of shrimp. It made me sick for days. But you go to the hotel and they give you a wristband and they say, "Please enjoy pile of shrimp."
Who am I to say no?
I was like, "Wait, pile of shrimp? What else do you have?" It's like, "We also have pile of prime rib." It's your choice. It's been under that heat lamp for hours. So those are the biggest things that we need. Not, figuratively biggest, not physically biggest, but those are the biggest ones. The other thing that they mentioned for colonization, for lunar colonization, as important, tardigrades.
Is that just because they're durable and we can't kill? Nothing can kill them up there.
Yeah, I think it's mostly for morale. We
Hey,
can't.
the tardigrade's not complaining.
Yeah. Keep that sunny outlook going on, Jim. We're on day 19. One astronaut looks over at the other, and he's just wearing like a bib, and he's got a cartoon fork and knife.
He's got the handbook open to chapter 14.
The other astronaut's like, I'm not dead yet, right? I don't know. It just says 20 days. It says a dog can play basketball, and you're a day away, my friend. Tardigrades we bring up basically just to continue studying them. We think it's going to be important to see why they survive so well. What sort of things that we can learn from and about them as extremophiles that we could sort of either make that trait one that we can emulate in other organisms through manipulation of DNA or through the creation of technology that we could use biomimicry to make space safer for us.
The problem with the tardigrade is that even after you eat them, they'll just pop right out in your stool and they're fine. They're like, all right, another weird environment that I just lived through.
It's like a cartoon of a skeleton trying to eat. The skeleton's like, I've been hungry for 100 years. And it takes peas and puts them on a knife and slides them down through its ribcage, and the ribcage goes, and the skeleton goes, "Aw." Can't digest a tardigrade. There's no nutrients. It's like Gwyneth Paltrow, but smaller.
You just look right into the bowl that you've been strapped to, and there it is. You pooped it right out.
That's right. I think the tardigrade thing, I understand it, but when we're talking about colonizing and living in space and what we need, This one sounds a little more theoretical and a little more like the college boy theory scientists are just listed things that they want.
Well, I think this goes on the list of animals we bring to space because it's a research project.
Right.
It's not on the list of animals we bring to space to start a colony in regard to like sustainability and creating an ecosystem.
There's
it's a cool research.
And then there's nice to haves.
That's right.
Which one is this? The tardigrades are nice to haves.
Nice to haves. Yeah.
Cocktail sauce? Must have.
Must have. 100%.
Paprika? Yeah. Must have.
Must have. Yeah.
Once,
deviled egg mixins.
Please, not only that, but like, look, I'm Eastern European. It doesn't matter what food you put me up in space with. If you put me up in space with that food and paprika, I'll eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I'm genetically predisposed to that. A little paprika, I'll eat anything.
Put it on the crickets.
Yeah. Boil me a cricket and put paprika on it. I'll eat it.
Deviled crickets.
Please. My grandmother would tell me about how much she yearned for crickets growing up in the shtetl.
In the old country.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Cricket was a Saturday night treat.
Oh, people came from miles around. If you had a cricket or a bean, because you could thinly slice that bean and hand a thin slice to everybody in the village.
Yeah. People would pull out their bindles.
That's right. We'd sit around the flaming garbage can with our top hat that had the top punched out of it.
Yeah.
And we'd thinly slice a bean for the whole village. Is what we'd do.
That's just history.
That's right. Read a book. We can't do all the work for you. I don't know. Look, I'm a seafood guy. I like eating a lot of seafood. I'm a shrimp guy. I'm a sushi guy. I'm a fish guy.
Yeah. Me too.
But I'm not liking the early menu for space.
No, and I'm actually, the biggest takeaway I have from this story is how far away it seems we are from anything more sophisticated than that, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they're not even going, it's possible. They're saying this is a long way. We're going to have a colony on the moon well before we have good restaurants.
That's right. There's only one blanket per astronaut. So we don't have any for the pigs.
That's right. That's right.
I don't go anywhere where there aren't hors d'oeuvres, and that includes space. And that's just the way I feel about humanity's future.
Yeah. Can I get a good past app, please?
Yeah. Are there sliders? Because if there aren't sliders, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you all think about this, concerned citizens? What kind of food would it take on the colony to get you to consider living in space? Let us know. You can let us know on the Discord. Discord's a great place to hang out.
Oh, phenomenal place to hang out. Fantastic folks, really cool discussions, all sorts of topics. And all it takes is you to support this show. Make sure we get to keep making these shows. A single $1 every month goes a long, long way in showing your support and gets you access to that Discord.
That's right. Along with the access to the Discord, if you move up to the $3 level, you get bonus episodes. The cold opens that we do for every episode. That's like a second show every week. It really is. For $5, you get bonus videos. And it just keeps going up and up and up for there. You won't believe what we'll do for $10,000.
That's right. We'll eat crickets.
That's right. Don't tell my rabbi what I will do for $10,000 at this stage in my life. There's one way to
find out, though, and that's patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.